Hello guys, I think we are live now. Let me just make sure that we are indeed live. I'm gonna click on the analytics and make sure that I can kind of hear myself. If so, it's very nice to be here today, and I look forward to doing some code. I think we're live now. It says I'm live. Still can't hear myself though. I'm just gonna wait until I can get that confirmation before I start talking a load of crap. Connecting streaming software. Little crap. Yeah, there you go. So I can hear myself, and I sound good. I sound amazing. Sometimes I do like hearing the sound of my voice, and sometimes I'm like hating myself because of the way I sound. It depends on the day. But anyway, it's good to be here with you guys on this Wednesday evening stream. It's still very bright outside, so it doesn't really feel like an evening yet, but it'll get very dark very, very soon. Today we're going to be doing some Golang. So we actually have a clear plan today, to be fair. So I've actually planned it out during the day because I was kind of thinking to myself, what is something that's kind of very, very easy and we can kind of complete within the stream, so within something like 2 or 3 hours. And we can explain it on stream as well. And it's something that people are definitely going to make use of, and it's going to improve people's websites in Golang. And then I thought, yeah, reCaptcha, right? So we have a contact form. So we actually do have a page that serves a contact form in Urchin. So for those who don't know, Urchin is our headless HTMX Golang temple CMS, all the buzzwords there. So we do have that contact page in there, but it's not really protected by anything at the moment. And it doesn't really do much yet anyway. So it would be nice to put some functionality into that page, right? So in other words, we're going to be saving some contact forms somewhere, right? So we can actually see who attempts to contact us. So yeah, I mean, let's get started with it. So for those who don't know, reCaptcha is this little thing here. So whenever you go on a website and it has that Google reCaptcha logo on it, that website is running reCaptcha, which means you can't really kind of spam a form. You can't get bots to submit the form for you because it's not going to work. Google is going to find out. And this is the mechanism behind it. It's called reCaptcha. And essentially what it is, it's basically a bunch of JavaScript running on your website where it's kind of sending all the data from the user's machine to Google. And Google is analyzing it. So Google is seeing, the mouse movement, how long you kind of spend on a particular section of the website, how long you're writing your messages for. And at the end, when you click on the send button here, Google decides whether or not it thinks you're a bot, whether or not it thinks you're a real person or a real boy like Pinocchio. So it is very useful to have this. So just as an example, when I was running a family business website and I didn't have reCaptcha on, so I had an email form, an email contact form without reCaptcha or anything to kind of stop the bots, I was basically getting like 3 to 5 spam contacts every day, basically. So for bots from China, for example, were just messaging me on my website just to see if they could find some sort of backdoor to my website. So it is definitely good having reCaptcha for that case. Hello Bogdan, how is it going? Yeah, it's Golang today, dude. It's Golang today, so we're finally doing something useful here. So yeah, we're going to be integrating reCaptcha to Urchin, and yeah, let's see how it is. So let me just show you guys where I'm actually going to do this. So we're going to spin up Urchin here. Hopefully I'm on the main. So let's just check out. We'll get Paul, in fact. And do I have Docker Compose? Docker Compose, yeah. Let's see if this still works, just as usual. I think the DB is still starting up. Once it does start up, I guess we're going to get Urchin building and running. There you go. So what we're going to do today is we're going to handle the contact form with Google reCaptcha, right? So currently we can do whatever. So I can put my name in here. I'm not even sure if it does anything at the moment. I think we just added, there is some sort of, input checking. Yeah, but at the moment, as I said, it doesn't really do anything. So it just says, message sent from the contact form. So what we're going to do is we're going to integrate reCaptcha here to make sure that we can't get any bot bot contacts here, because at the moment anyone can write a bot and kind of like flood this website with contact forms. And if you have something like Bravo integrated, so Bravo is kind of this API that you can use to send emails to your mailing list, for example, which is something that I actually have done in the past. So every time a bot kind of sends a message, you're using up that kind of a Bravo bandwidth. And sometimes you only, if on the free accounts, for example, you only get something like 300 emails a day. So it's good to have something to stop the bots, right? Now, let's talk a little bit about how reCaptcha works. So out of interest, there's a few people watching us right now. Have you guys worked with reCaptcha before? Do you know how to integrate reCaptcha? Have you done it before? So this thing here by Google that allows you to stop the bots. Let me know if you have. But anyway, so this is your contact form here, which is kind of seen from the user, by the user, right? And then we have another, let's say message succeeded, or a message failed page, right? So it depends on what you send. So let's actually change the background of this one just to something a little bit nicer. And this one is going to be red because it's failed, right? So, and then you've got like your backend website, right? So you've got your actual website's backend here. Let's just remove that. So what actually happens when you use reCaptcha? I've tried once on my personal website, but ditched the idea since it wasn't really a must. Yeah, I mean, if you're not really getting a lot of that, yeah, that's a good point. So if you're not really getting a lot of spam messages and stuff, it's, you can just leave it. But I would always recommend it anyway, just because let's say your contact form has some weird behavior on it, and it's kind of like, say you have a backdoor on it, so it at least stops the automatic bots from finding it. That's my logic here. But anyway, so you send the user will send the request to your backend for the contact form, right? And then reCaptcha is going to come in here and kind of check whether or not that response was a bot. So as I said, it will check things like the mouse movement, how long you're spending on certain sections of the website, how long your messages are taken to write, and so on and so forth. And based on your response and based on what Google finds, it may say that you're a bot, or it may say that if you are a real boy like Pinocchio, it will be like message succeeded. So this is essentially in a nutshell what it does. Now, what do you need to use reCaptcha in your website? So first of all, I would recommend going to the Google reCaptcha website. So there is a page for the reCaptcha. So if you search for reCaptcha v3, this is the one I recommend using. It's much better than the v2, and it's just kind of like seamless. So what you need to do is you need to go on reCaptcha, sign up for it, and go into the admin console. Once you're in the admin console, you're going to create a website on it, right? You can create a website, and from there you're going to get a v3 token. So the token will look something like this. And I know I'm leaking the token here, but you guys can use it or not. Like it makes no difference, because I'm going to revoke this as soon as the stream is over. But you're going to get two things. You're going to get the site key, and you're going to get the secret key. So the site key is something that you will put in your web page. It will be visible on your website. It will be visible to Google's reCaptcha APIs, because as I said, it's basically just JavaScript running on your website that's sending data to Google. And then the secret key is what you're going to use to actually get the results from Google's reCaptcha. So all the data that the user provides regarding mouse movements, typing and stuff like that will be processed by Google, and then you are going to request the answer or the responses from Google with the secret key, right? So that's what you're going to do. And there are very good tutorials online. So if you look for Golang reCaptcha v3, it already kind of gives you a little, Google will give you a little, oh no, there's a Google official one, I think, somewhere. I remember looking at it, or maybe not. Oh, let's look at the Go. Yeah, so it seems that there is already a package that does this for you, but I'm going to do it manually anyway. So, it's very easy to do it anyway. It's just a get request somewhere. But there are many, many examples of how you can include reCaptcha with Golang. And this is one of them. I mean, I was looking for the official Google one. I'm pretty sure I found it before. But yeah, so this is using that package anyway, so we don't really want that. Let's see if we can find the original Google one. There you go, developer's guide. That's what I'm looking for. So reCaptcha view free. What do we have here? Choose the client-side integration. So there are a few things you need to do. Obviously, you're going to have to add the Google reCaptcha stuff on your front end, so on your JavaScript, and it's just basically just putting this in there, and then you add a callback function to handle the token, which it will look something like this, right? So you just add it anywhere on your submit, on your form submission. So this is what's going to be running when you click on the submit button, basically. And yeah, from there, you obviously add some other stuff to the button as well. And then from there, you have to go to do the rest of the stuff on the back end, right? So on the back end, you're going to have to request a few different things. So you're going to, what is this doing here? So programmatically, let me just read this because I can't remember this bit. Execute method reCaptcha object. To do this, you need to add render. Load the JavaScript API with your site key, or reCaptcha execute on each action you wish to protect. Yeah, that makes sense. So we have the site key here and action submit. Okay, no, I was looking for more. I was looking for the backend code really. But yeah, I mean, I do have an example of this running anyway, so we can always look at what I've done in the past. But there are a few things we need to do. So obviously we need to take in 2 more settings, right? So we're going to take in the site key and the secret key. But I'm going to create a new branch here on Urchin to do this work. So what do we do? Support for Google reCaptcha. We're going to push this. Oh, support for Google reCaptcha. Why is it not working? Oh yeah, because we haven't actually checked out. There you go, branch created, push to origin. Let's code this and see what we can do. So yeah, first things first, we're basically just going to take in these values into the program, right? So we're going to change the settings somewhere. So we've got app settings here on the common. Where do we actually add this? So we've got image directory, cache enabled. Our setting structures are getting really, really big. Maybe I need to think about making this a little bit more friendly, but yeah. So we've got reCaptcha site key, which is going to be a string, and in a toml file, what are we going to call this? So reCaptcha site key, right? Something like that. Then we have reCaptcha secret. And in the toml file, we're just going to expect reCaptcha secret, right? So now whenever we pass the structure, we got to make sure that we have these values in there. That's all. It would be nice if we made them optional. Yeah, if we made them optional. Now, is there a way to say, the marshalling here to be default? Why don't you stream on Twitch? Chuchumba, welcome to the stream, dude. Good question. I don't know. It's just easy to do it on Instagram, on YouTube, really, because I've been doing this for like a year now, so I don't really want to swap platforms. Why do you feel like I'll get more viewers on Twitch? Because if you do, let me know. I will definitely do that. But the truth is, I mean, people are both on Twitch and on YouTube. People like yourself are on both sides, so it doesn't really matter where I do it. I think I'll get the same amount of people watching me either way. But yeah, unless I got like a nice deal with Twitch, but I'm not nowhere as big to get something like that. But yeah, I mean, can we get something to imply omnitempi? Wait, what? Omit empty, I think. Ah, okay, omit empty. Right, yeah, let's try that. I'm gonna search for it because I've never actually used it. So, Golang struct marshal string omit empty. Is that correct? Yeah, but this is JSON though. I'm using a different library for the Tomo stuff. So which one am I actually using? I can't remember. I think it's Burn Sushi. I think it's Burn Sushi. I'm not too sure. No, it's not this one. Wait, is there a way to see it? Yeah, there is a way to see it. Where is my Go mod file? Yeah, it is Burn Sushi. So Burn Sushi is the one I'm using. So there must be an option in this one here, right? I think to make sure we ignore the empty. Using Marshall as encoding text to Marshall contact. Ooh. Let's look at the examples. Maybe they've got better examples here. No, maybe. How are you actually using Burn Sushi? There you go. So there is Burn Sushi, but there's also Palantir. Palantir is the one I'm using. I've no idea where Burn Sushi is coming from. Yeah, I've just no idea. So maybe I just need to upgrade this because I'm clearly have two Tomo dependencies that shouldn't be there. So Golang, so as a Palantir, Tomo Golang. That's the one I'm using. I'm actually using this one because it has a nice sort of struct marshalling syntax. I think that's the only reason why I'm using it, to be honest. Because it is actually slower than Burn Sushi for parsing. Let me just find the document. Damn documentation, Jesus Christ. There you go, multi-line. So struct tags have been merged. View1 used to provide struct tags, comment multi-line. Yeah, omit empty. So you are right. You are correct. It does support that. I just went all this way just because I wanted to see the documentation, how to find which other attributes it supports as well. But it sounds good. So basically, we do something like that, I guess. Right? So if I were to debug this now and not change my Tomo files, because I do have some Tomo files here that don't have those values. So let's see if it actually does work. Docker compose. I'm just going to start the MariaDB. So we already have, oh yeah, sudo systemctl. I'm going to stop MariaDB locally here just so I can start it on Docker. So it doesn't use the same port. And yeah, let's see if this still works fine. So where do we actually parse the structure? There will be somewhere in my main file. I'll go on application.go. Is there a main one? Main function here. Where's my entry point? Jesus. Home handler. Oh yeah, none of these are my handlers because none of these are my entry points because the actual application is here, Urchin. There you go. So we do parse the config here. Let me just put a breakpoint there. I just want to see that these things are actually coming in as we expect it to, right? So here we are. Config parsed. Okay. App settings. I'm reading the config. We read the config. And here we go. Yeah. So it does work. It doesn't fail if I don't have those options in there, which kind of now means that if on the contact form we have these things empty, we don't have to actually parse anything. But if the user has provided the reCaptcha site key and the secret, then we can integrate Google reCaptcha for them automatically, right? Without them doing anything. So yeah, let's take a look at the contact form actually. So we do have a contact form here. You see that I have a contact home handler, and what does it actually do? It does a bunch of shit. It does a bunch of shit actually. So first of all, I've got this function which was also generated by Temple, which is the make contact failure. Let's just look at what that actually looks like in Temple script, because that's what I have here generating this page for me. It's a Temple page. So if I'm not mistaken, it's in my views somewhere. Yeah, views, and I have contact failure, contact success. Which one was this? Make contact failure. That's not the one I want. Wait, where am I actually using this? So make contact form handler. Contact send is there. Oh, there you go. Contact handler is the actual one. So make contact page is the one. So make contact page is what I need to look at. So I guess it will be in contact somewhere. Contact failure, contact temple. No, that's the Golang file. Contact temple. There you go. So this has all the HTML that's actually being rendered to Golang, right? And why am I looking at this? Because we're actually going to pass in here. I guess we're going to pass in the reCaptcha stuff, right? So we're going to say that we want the reCaptcha secret. We should probably do some context passing down. Yeah, so instead of passing on all the attributes, sorry, all the parameters that we need for the temple functions to generate Go code, we could pass the context, which is how you meant to be passing down data basically from Golang to temple. But the problem with context objects is that they tend to get very messy, and I don't like using them until you absolutely need it. I'm not sure if you guys feel the same. So do you guys work with context objects quite a lot in Golang? So I would like to know that, because I tend to avoid them, to be honest. It just gets very messy to check that all the data is there and the context is properly formed and stuff. But anyway, reCaptcha psyche, and that's going to be a string here. And then we have reCaptcha secret, which is also going to be a string, right? And if we do have these things, we can add the page on the header, I guess. So this is where the developer page comes in, right? Because we were looking at the reCaptcha developer page. So we're going to put this thing at the very top of the header if we have both so do we have if statements? How do you do if statements in? Does it just work normally like Golang? So if we have reCaptcha secret and reCaptcha psyche, I highly recommend parallel streaming on Twitch. There is a special category, software and game development. Chuchumba, I tell you what, dude, I will try that. So I'll look at how I can parallel stream, because I know there are some stuff you can kind of set up to stream on both sides at the same time. But yeah, I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that this Saturday. So this Saturday there'll be another stream, and I'll make sure to do that, right? Problem is, I've kind of built the audience here on YouTube, so I still want to mainly stream on YouTube and then go to Twitch later on. But yeah, you're kind of making me doubt myself now, because if you're asking for Twitch, then that means a lot more people are on Twitch for live streams than they are on YouTube, right? So, but anyway, I'm looking for temple documentation. And I'm just looking at how I can do a simple if statement. That's all. I've not actually done any temple coding in ages, because I haven't had to modify the temple stuff in ages. So if else, there you go. So if else, it's just the same. It's just basically the same. Temple if is logged in. Okay. So can we do if len of it? Does len work? Does len work in here? Invalid operation, len reCaptcha and mismatch type int in the string, yeah. So if I do something like if length equals is more than 0 in this case, and we also have length of that is more than 0. In other words, we have provided something in here, right? We can add that script tag, and that's it. And likewise, we're going to have to add some extra code here at the end of our form. So instead of submitting it, we're just going to do some stuff here. So this is what we're going to do. So add a callback function to handle the token. So get element by ID dot submit and add attributes to your HTML button. Programmatically invoke the challenge. If you wish to have more control over when reCaptcha runs, you can use the execute method in reCaptcha object. To do this, you need to add render parameter. Yeah, we don't need that. I guess we only need the very basic functionality, which is this thing here. So I'm actually going to add this inside the form, I think. Yeah, so let's do that here. So if we can say that we have length of this more than 0 and length of something more than 0. Ooh, what am I doing? We're going to do this. Otherwise, we're going to add a bunch of shit here as well. So, oh no, actually, the wrong way around. And this is how we do it, right? Just out of interest, if else. Yeah, so they put it on the same page. I'm not sure if there'll be any formatting issues here, but right. So now what do we have? We have reCaptcha key here, and then reCaptcha secret. By the way, if you guys could do it for me, just please like the video. It does help me out quite a lot, especially after the stream. If I manage to get a bunch of likes on the stream, then YouTube just seems to recommend the video to a lot more people. So I would appreciate if you can do that. And also, we've hit I think it's 2,000 subscribers, right? So thank you all very much for subscribing. I do appreciate that very much, and I hope that we get free soon. Let's just put it that way. 2,000 subscribers still is nothing compared to what other people have here. Anyway, so we've got this thing. Ooh. Got this thing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of these, and another one, and another one, and another one. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to put the script here, as well as the button code, if we do have reCaptcha. So where are we again? So we are, oh gosh, where are we? We are here. Oh my god, I'm losing myself. There you go, this is what I was looking for. And we're going to add the button instead of the input, that's all. And again, this is not going to be nicely formatted, but yeah. So we have submit there, and what is the form ID called? So get element by ID, form, action, method, post. We don't actually have an ID for it, or we can kind of add now. Which is great. So we do have an ID. In other words, if we do have reCaptcha site key and reCaptcha secret, we should be able to have these things. I know for sure that this is not going to compile. This is just not going to compile yet because I haven't passed down the settings, the reCaptcha settings. So let's try that. I'm going to regenerate. I'm going to have to regenerate all of the tempo files by just running the make file. So not enough arguments in function call. That's good because now we have the exact error where we need to pass in the stuff. So for example, I need to pass in the app settings. Is it reCaptcha site key, right? App settings, reCaptcha site key, and then app settings. reCaptcha secret there. And can I build it now? Good, so it does build. So what I expect to see now is like whenever I actually do have the two settings on my urchin config, things should appear. So I should be able to see the reCaptcha stuff, right? That's all. There's one thing I haven't really done yet, which is I haven't actually put the site key here. So the site key has to be it has to be replaced here. Now, how do I do a replacement again in Temple? So how do I replace a variable that I have? So for expression attributes, expansions, core concepts, site rendering, expressions, let's see. So div prefix. Okay, so it's just a matter of putting this in there, right? Yeah. Let's go. So we have got in here, what is it? So this is the site key. This is the site key here. In fact, we don't actually need a secret at all in this place, right? We don't need the secret at all. We just need the site key. I just realized that. The secret is just something that we're going to be pasting on the back end anyway, so like we really shouldn't be putting the secret here. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't know why I passed it down. Okay. And again, I should expect this to fail now again, because it's going to regenerate the tempo stuff, which means I have changed this. This is all we need. Okay. And now we should be able to build it again, which is good. And now we should be able to start the application and not see any of the reCaptcha stuff on the website, because we haven't really got any of the settings enabled to us, right? So let's see if that is still the case. Why do we have a breakpoint there? So we have this. I have no idea what that fav icon is. I have no idea where it came from. Okay, so make contact handler. Let's move that as well. And here we are. So do we have any reCaptcha stuff? We really shouldn't. We really shouldn't have any reCaptcha stuff. So if I look for reCaptcha, not here, right? Not here at all, which is good. Now, if I provide those settings on my files, right? So if I actually change both of them. So if I look for my urchin config toml files, I think this is the one that I really care about. And I provide those reCaptcha settings. So 2a reCaptcha site key. And then reCaptcha secret here. And yes, I'm going to paste whatever is on my screen now here. Again, I know I'm leaking this, but if you're watching this in the future and thinking that you can use these tokens, it's not going to work, because I'm going to revoke it in a second. So don't even try it. And then we've got the secret as well. And you know, long story short, whenever I run the app again, we should have the reCaptcha stuff now enabled, right? So config, and there you go. So error, something for site key. What does it say? I'm actually going to Google this. Error for site owner, invalid site key. And this is probably because I haven't allowed my. That's one of the things when you have a site key, right? So when you have something like that, you kind of have to enable it to run from a particular domain, right? So I guess what we have to do here is just put localhost 8080 to run from urchin. I guess this is it. So let's see. Save. Requires a host and must not include any protocol path port. Yeah, so localhost is no idea why this is not working. Okay, localhost 8080, let's save that. Yeah, that's invalid still. Now I swear to God, this used to accept localhost, so just for testing purposes. So reCaptcha v3 localhost testing. There you go. That's what I'm looking for. If you'd like to use localhost for development, you must add it to the list of domains. Localhost domains are no longer supported by default. If you wish to continue supporting them for development, you can add them to the list of supported domains. For your site key, go to the admin console to update your list of supported domains. We advise to use a separate key for development and production, and to not allow localhost on your production site key. In other words, simply use the same key. Okay, I mean, so according to this, then I should be able to just put localhost in here, right? Unless, what happened here? Localhost. Yeah, it still doesn't let me work with localhost, which really is a pain. Really is a shame, really. When was this answer from? 2012. So yeah, I mean, 2012 is a long time ago. It might not work anymore. So for reCaptcha v3, create a separate key for testing environment. Scores may not be accurate as reCaptcha 3 relies on seeing real traffic. Cool. How can I avoid, okay, localhost anywhere mentioned in here, please? I'm getting an error, localhost is not in the list of supported domains. What should I do? Localhost domains are not supported by default. If you wish to continue supporting them for development, you can add them to the list of supported domains for your site key. Go to reCaptcha Enterprise Console or to the reCaptcha console as appropriate to update your list of supported domains. We advise to use a separate key, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, we know this, but I'm doing that and it's just not working, is it? It's just not working. In fact, what's the error that I actually get? This is the error that I actually get. I think it was already added there, but now you removed it. Don't you need to press plus before save? Good question. I don't know. No, it's definitely still there, like, and I've saved it as well. Yeah, it is a weird one. I wonder if it's waiting for a particular domain. So if I do something like a domain that I own, for example, where are we again? So we are here. Nope. Yeah, here. I wonder if it's as well as the local host, you should probably put like example.com or something. Can you go into the code where you pasted the key? Yeah, I'll go. Oh, yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question. What do I do? Because I could be putting the site key. In fact, I can actually see what's coming through here, right? So I should be able to see this. Site key. Ah, yeah. That's why it doesn't work. You see? You see what the issue is here. So it doesn't work because of this. Right, so this is a tempo skill issue. Tempo documentation Golang. I thought we were able to put things into this reCaptcha site key, right? Which is coming from there. But I guess that because it's in a string, it's not going to work. I do have examples of this somewhere else though. So maybe I should be able to look into header.tempo, and that has, there you go. So URL, link.name, nope, that's not quite it. Image.tempo will have something like that. So fmt, fprintf, sprintf, ooh, not quite again. Alternative image.alttext. Ah, I think it converts to a string automatically. Yeah, maybe that's what it does, right? So maybe if we do just, not do this and then just put it in there, things just work. Double maybe, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm sure that. Yeah, I'm sure that tempo kind of turns whatever into strings anyway. So if I do this, then it should work. When it's inside a string, I don't know. But let's see. I think this should work now. I've actually had this issue on the stream before, and I think I was debugging things for like 10 minutes until things were just working. Right, anyway, so we should be able to run the application now. Correct? Yes. And let's see if we can finally see the reCaptcha. Yay, so that means it worked, right? So that means we actually have something going for ourselves. So we do have the front end bit working now, which is not very difficult. I mean, all I did is I just pasted some shit onto my website, but now we actually have to get the reCaptcha response, right? So that is the next bit. That's the next bit that we have to do. So programmatically invoke the challenge. If you wish to have more control over reCaptcha runs, you can use execute. Yeah, okay. Interpreting the score. Send the token immediately to a backend with a request to verify. Is that the page? Verifying the user's response. There you go. So this is what I have to do. I have to actually send a post request to this website here. And I send the secret. Wait, what? So I have to send the response as well. The user response token provided by reCaptcha client-side integration on your website. So is that something that I kind of will get anyway? So let's take a look at this. Is that something that I get through like a get request URL parameter or something? That's what I'm wondering. Let's see if this works in the first place. Yeah, I don't know now. What do we actually get here? So we did a get request to this. Ah, never mind. This is a post request. That makes sense. Yeah, this is a post request and is going to the contact page, right? So I will get this, I guess. Where are we again? So I should be able to get these things back. Like response and remote IP. Optional, the user's IP address. Oh, that's interesting. We can get the IP address from Google's reCaptcha. API response. Yeah, I'm gonna look at some more examples here because I'm not entirely sure now, to be honest. Golang, Google reCaptcha example. What I'm thinking is like we just put a library for, well, we have the HTTP library, and the request library in Google as well, right? So isn't it automatically bound by the on the button? Good question. Oh yeah, sure. You got a point. You got a point. Am I just being an idiot again? Oh yeah, side key callback action. No, it's not. It's not bound in the button. So the button just sets the callback and says that we're gonna basically call on submit here. That's all we're basically doing here. But I guess there is something that we need to get as well, because there will be a, like, I'm pretty sure that this will give us a UUID on the back end, so we can then make a request and say this, give them the response for this UUID. And that's the bit I'm missing. Like, where do I get that? So I don't want a package to do it for me. I want to do it myself, because I think this does not justify having an entire Go package or a Go module just to do this. Let's see. Does this one use the Go package? reCaptcha to, yeah, register inside details. Yeah, we got localhost here. Generate the keys. Nutshell of Google reCaptcha process. That's what we talked about at the start of the stream. We added the script stuff there. Ah, there you go. So this is actually some Go code that does not include any Go modules, just for the reCaptcha stuff. And let's see what they're doing. So config structure. So we've got port, server certificate. Oh, it's actually quite chunky, isn't it? So reCaptcha. So we've got verify URL. We have client key, which is client key, and server key. Is that literally what they say here? So we should get that on the post request. That's a good point. So I just want to put a breakpoint and see what actually comes in to my contact, because I think these fields here, whatever this is mentioning, where are we again? These fields are coming in through post fields on my request automatically. That's what Google is doing, right? And it kind of seems like it is. So server key, client key. No, this is actually quite different. So Google reCaptcha response. So success, challenge. This is once we call the Google reCaptcha API, we're gonna get this. But let's see what they do. I mean, my man, this blog could do with some code formatting, to be honest. You know, it's not that difficult, dude. You're using WordPress, so just put a plugin that does that for you, man. That'll be very easy indeed. So JSON and Marshall body. Where is body here? So yeah, they're putting the secret and the response. Capture response. Now where's response from? Kunaf. Oh no, 45 minutes late to the stream, meaning I'm an additional 45 minutes worth of suboptimal person now. hello mate, how's it going? It's good to see you here, man. Good to see you here, Ahmed. Yeah, we're just doing basic stuff though. This is beta coding. This is not Sigma coding. I'll tell you that. This is just API stuff. Anyway, so it gets the reCaptcha's response from where? So secret, reCaptcha server key, verify URL. Validate reCaptcha. So we've got reCaptcha response string. Where is he calling validate reCaptcha? There you go. There you go. This is what we get. Ah, that's what I was looking for. So we do, like, where does it actually mention this? Oh, there you go. For web users, you can get the user's response token in one of three ways. G reCaptcha response, post parameter when the user submits a form to your website. The thing is, I'm just very bad at reading documentation, as you can probably tell, guys. So I just skipped right through this and missed this. In the jungle of entangled libraries, the apex predator is the fastest swimmer in the documentation. Indeed, yeah. So I am not the fastest swimmer. I'll tell you that. Not when it comes to documentation. And real life as well. I'm very, very bad at swimming. So I basically swim like you expect a programmer to. I'm very bad. I remember I went to Cyprus once. Well, it was last year actually, and me and my friends got a boat, and we went to, you know, just like to the middle of the ocean, and you can like kind of take a dip, and everyone was so good at swimming. And as soon as I jumped into the ocean, I was kind of like working very, very hard not to drown myself. And I was just trying to pretend I'm fine, you know, I'm not struggling at all. Well, you can't swim in the jungle, so that's one really beta metaphor. Oh shit, yeah, that went over my head. I just realized that. In the jungle of entangled libraries, the apex predator is the fastest swimmer in documentation. That is a good analogy though, I'll tell you that. Anyway, so we should be able to get this thing here from the post request. So let's just figure out where in the hell we're actually sending that post request, right? Because it should be something like contact. And if we just include Go files, contact send. Is that correct? So do not cache it as you need to handle new values. Yeah, so this make contact form handler. Make contact form handler. Okay. So again, this is generated mostly with temple, but I think the temple bit isn't actually necessary here. So what we need to do is, I guess, reCaptcha response, and that'll be something like c.request.form value. Is that correct? And do we get something out of this? That is my wonder here, because ideally we're going to get this value, and we're going to make the request to Google's API in here, right? And we should have everything that we need here. So we've got the context. Oh, no, we don't. We do need the app settings, which is going to be common.app settings, right? And then we should have like everything that we need here. So what is the easiest way to make a post request in Go? So make a post request in Golang. Is it just about, yeah, just the HTTP header? Okay, good. We're gonna use this. We're gonna use this. Perhaps we're gonna create an actual kind of class here, right? So we're gonna do a type reCaptcha request struct, and then is this struct? Is that how you define a struct? I can't remember. I've been out of Golang for so long, guys. I don't even know anymore. But anyway, this is the stuff that we the data we need to send Google's reCaptcha API to get a score. All right, that's all we're gonna do here. And we're also gonna have another type, which is type reCaptcha response, right? And this is what we're gonna get back from Google. And these things are definitely documented because I have seen them here somewhere, right? Where? So response is going to be the reCaptcha response. That's what it's going to map into. We've got response, secret, and remote IP. Optional, the user's remote IP. Yeah, we're not going to send that. We're just going to send secret and response, right? So what we're going to have here is we're going to have secret or secret, which is simply a string, and we are going to need the JSON string here. And then we also have the response, which simply is the response. Very nice and easy, right? Not so difficult. How do you find Go versus C++? I did a lot of C++ in school, but I don't feel confident in it. I definitely find Go a lot nicer to write in, to be honest, Bogdan. The thing with Go is that, well, the thing with Go and any kind of new modern language is that you have more up-to-date compilers and languages that were kind of developed and thought of very recently, right? So Golang, I don't know when it was created, maybe like 2009 or something. So it's kind of very, very new compared to C++, which means that everything that we learned up until 2009 or whenever Go was created about writing a language and writing compilers for a language and how you can make things nicer on the user were implemented in Go. And that's not something you get in C++. But yeah, so in short, I guess that long story short, it just means that Golang is a lot nicer to write in than C++, and it has things like interfaces, which is nice. C++ doesn't really have interfaces. You can kind of mimic it, and right now there is concepts, I guess, to include that stuff in it. But yeah, I mean, templates versus interfaces, I would much rather work with interfaces. That's what I'm saying. C++ is just an old language, and it is what it is. There's not much you can do when you have like that much baggage. It's very, very hard to improve a language that's been there for 40, 50 years, right? But yeah, I do like saying that I do like C++ still. C++ is still my main language. I do it at work. I do it on my free time. I do it all the time. And it's, when I think about a program, when I think about writing a program, I actually think in C++. So, but yeah, I would say keep doing both. If you're wondering if you should still continue with C++, then the answer is absolutely yes, because by learning C++ completely, you kind of, this is something I say all the time, you kind of learn some of the very, very good foundations that are worth having in your skill set, really. So you can kind of, if you understand C++ very well, if you understand C, especially C, because C is basically the foundation for everything in computer science, you kind of just guess like how things are implemented in other languages. Like whenever I look at slices in Golang, for example, and I realize that basically it's just a view into an array that kind of dynamically grows or shrinks depending on how the user is using, right? And I can kind of think of the C++ code that I would write to make that happen. And that knowledge is useful having. What do you work on C++? It probably isn't web. No, yeah, it's not web dev. It's usually systems programming. So I've worked for a few different companies in the past. So I've worked for a company called Aviva, which was basically a desktop application in the engineering industry. So we did like a 3D, call it a 3D Photoshop for laser scan data, so point cloud data. And then I worked for Jaguar Land Rover doing embedded software development. And I did software on cars. So if you know the Land Rover brand, the Jaguar brand, there is software that I created that's still running on those machines, and that's very very interesting to think about sometimes. And then I worked for Microsoft for a year doing, I guess, machine learning stuff. So machine learning stuff. And now I'm a Hayden, where I do distribution. I do, yeah, I guess it's distribution software. So distributed system software. So making like simulations and stuff on a lot of different machines, and it's all C++ as well. Yeah, true. I felt like it was a good language for learning, but I felt like I wasn't doing something that an end user will enjoy. Probably that's why I didn't stick with me. Nice career experience. Yeah, I mean, it's nice. I mean, the problem with my career is that I've been through a lot of companies in a very short amount of time, and some people don't like that. But I found that I kind of got to learn the most out of it. So I would definitely recommend hopping for a couple of times at the start of your career, just so you can get like that experience, and then settle down. Like now, I'm basically settled down in my current company, and I kind of enjoy working there, and I'll be there as long as they will have me, basically. So yeah, I basically have a lot more experience than someone in my position would have had I not hopped, or had I kind of stayed in one job for like 5 years instead of just having 2 or 3 different jobs in that time. You get to learn a lot. That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah. And going back to your point there, because you probably did, you said that you did something, you didn't do any end user related projects in C++. But you can kind of fix that, dude. There's a bunch of stuff you can do in C++ that's very, very nice and satisfying to do. One of the things I like to work on when I want to do something satisfying and see it on the screen is work on graphics. So you can pick up something like OpenGL and kind of learn a little bit of the standard and seeing how graphics are kind of shown on the screen. It is difficult. You're going to have to learn a little bit of maths for it. But then when you see like your first triangle rendered on the screen, when you see your first mesh after that, and then you can load in like models and stuff, it's very, very satisfying. And you can make it into like a standalone application that people will actually use. If you create like a model loader, people will actually use that. So I did some job hopping too, for money and experience as well. I feel like I'm ahead of others with the same experience, but also seems like there is a lot more for me to learn. So I'm always trying to learn. Yeah, there's always going to be stuff for learning. So that's the thing with it. I'm glad that you said that, actually. So yeah, job hopping over staying at the same job at the start of your career for like 5 years is 100 times better, in my opinion. Just because you get to experience different projects, different technologies. You're going to learn a lot more. You're going to work with a lot more people, different people that will teach you different things. So it's just how it is, right? OpenGL was really nice. Did some in faculty, but I feel like my C++ teachers weren't that good in terms of explaining the benefits of using such a language. Yeah, I agree with that. So I guess it was the same thing for me. So when I was at university, I did some graphics, and you can tell how bad the teachers were, how bad the professors were, when they taught you a module, an OpenGL module, but in Java. So we did OpenGL in Java at university, which was basically, I think it was called Joggle or something. That was the library. It was like a wrap around the C++ calls, but in Java. So you can kind of tell that they're not very up to date, and they don't really know too much of what they're teaching. But you're gonna get that in any university, to be honest. Professors tend to be quite outdated in what's kind of like industry standard, shall we say. And it's not their fault, because they're there to teach you the foundations and not really the most up-to-date things. But yeah, let's continue this before we. So reCaptcha response. What do we actually get on the response of the reCaptcha? We get these things here: the secret response and remote IP. Wait, no. We don't get that. We get this. We get these things. I'm just going to copy and paste it. So reCaptcha Android. No, we want this. these are the things that we want, right? So just gonna put this on the middle. Success is gonna be boo. And JSON, we have success. My first good teacher was a Java one, and a fun fact, before I landed my first job, I was saying FE devs are not real devs. FE devs? What is that? Are not real devs, and the fun part is that I landed my first job in React, so I kind of switched POV. Front-end developers, right, I get it. Although I still feel like backend is more challenging, I try to do full stack now. Front-end, yeah. Nice. Yeah, no, I agree with that, to be honest. Like, I'm trying to do a little bit of front-end at the moment, just so I can have that full stack on my CV. And it's always useful knowing how the entire stack works, right? It's always useful to go out of your comfort zone and learn what other people are doing, just because you are going to be able to help them more because you know what they're trying to do. You're not going to struggle as much to find a job just because you have like more skills in your Swiss knife. You have more things in your Swiss knife, shall we say? And yeah, I do agree with that, to be honest. Now, which one is more challenging? I would say, you can have challenging front end stuff in the same way you can have challenging back end stuff. I feel like both jobs nowadays are kind of just, any programming job nowadays is kind of just like, yeah, you just put things together. So, for 80% of the jobs, you're going to be putting things together anyway and not doing so much logic. Now, there are certain jobs, especially if you work in lower level languages, taking it back to like C++, even Rust, is not a lower level language, but it's definitely a systems language. Depending on what you're doing, you're going to have to write a lot of like raw algorithms yourself. And yeah, those tend to be quite challenging. But again, you're not doing that all the time. So it doesn't, yeah. A glue engineer, exactly, yeah. I like that. So timestamp here, and we're going to have, what is this going to be? So isoformer. I guess we can have a string, right? And JSON challenge TS here. And then we have the host name. We're not going to be checking any of this shit, so host name, and then finally the error codes. Error codes, ooh. Yeah, I'm not going to be pausing that. I don't really care. But we have everything that we need to actually make that request, right? So we are getting that reCaptcha response. And our goal is to create now a reCaptcha request here. So we're going to say something like reCaptcha. I can't spell today. reCaptcha. Request, please just let me spell reCaptcha. And what do we have here? Field reCaptcha request. We have secret response. Why did it not? Oh yeah, secret and response. So my secret is simply going to be the reCaptcha response at the top here. reCaptcha request. There's a typo. And my response. Oh no, that's what was meant to be that. The secret is just going to be the app key. App settings.reCaptcha secret. Okay, this is going to tell me it's not used anywhere. This is where we make that request to reCaptcha and get the answer that we need. Where are we? Okay, so what do we want to do? We want to do a new request, right? So something like that. See, even I'm doing kind of like glue engineering right here. I'm just looking because I don't really know that much Golang, to be honest. I'm a very basic Golang developer. I don't really do it all the time. I do it maybe once or twice a week, and for that reason, I forget how to do a lot of things. So I just have to look up online. I thought you were not a web dev. Julian, welcome to the stream. I'm not a web dev, dude. I'm just doing web dev. I'm not really labeling myself as a web dev, but I do know how to web dev though, which is useful. So we make a new post request, post URL. This is going to be the Google post URL. Where are we doing it? So there you go. This is the one. site verify, reCaptcha, site verify, and then new buffer on the body. But that's not what we want. We want to do a Marshall, right? So JSON and Marshall Golang. Yeah, I just want to marshal a structure to a buffer, basically. So response 1. Is it just JSON and Marshall? It might be, right? What will this return me? This will return me a byte. So data error. I'm going to unmarshal the reCaptcha request. Right? That's correct. Missing this before end of new line. No, we're not missing anything here. I need to check if the error is a nil. We probably want to say log an error or something, right? Log error.msg f could not decode the reCaptcha request or something, right? We don't really care now. And we kind of return here, I guess. We return something. Like, what is this function actually returning though? We make the contact form handler. We just return. We do have to render something, right? Render HTTP status okay. Make contact failure unknown. Oh yeah, that's the thing with HTMX. So like if I ever have an error somewhere in my backend, I have to still return status okay, but with this on it. Yeah, I'm just gonna copy and paste it here. So although I return a status okay, I'm actually returning a page that's just saying that we failed to return an error, basically. Yeah, and then we return here. Now this is good. So if error is not nil, I guess we can do fnt.errorf. Or sprintf actually. There you go. That way I'm using my error. I'm just cascading up the stack. Things like unexpected if at the end. Oh yeah. So what is this issue? Assignment mismatch. 2 variables with JSON returns 1. Ooh. So we unmarshal. Is it Marshall? Am I calling the wrong one? I might be calling the wrong one, am I? Let's see. So Marshall. That's the thing. I never used this vocabulary with C++. Marshall and unmarshal. To me, is encode and decode. I don't understand why people don't just call it that. To be honest, Marshall returns the JSON encoding of V in a byte array. Yeah, that's better now. So now we can truly do this. Yeah, and then the body. This is going to be data. A new buffer of the data. There you go. And then we have the response that's not been used. We don't want to panic here. Again, we kind of just want to return an error. This is going to look very messy, I guess. Because at this point, what we're doing here is we're requesting the reCaptcha response details from Google's validation API, right? And then down here we're gonna we're going to validate that the reCaptcha response was actually not a bot by checking the success rate. That's it. That's what we're doing here. This is what these 2 blocks of code are doing. So reCaptcha, Google, reCaptcha answers. Let's just put it that. Right. And then we have the reCaptcha answers, which will be, oh, what do we have here? New request. It's actually a post request, isn't it? What can we do? Submit or something? Like, what is the actual? Do you prefer LeetCode style test or take home where you complete in your own time? Hello, C. Welcome to the stream. Good question. I don't really know. I mean, I've done both in the past. I tend to be more nervous on the LeetCode ones because if you're doing a LeetCode test in an interview, then you tend to get like 2 or 3 people watching you and kind of judging every line of code that you write. So if you do something that's not quite right, you know you're going to lose some marks, right? But with take-home interviews, you get to spend a lot of time on something. You know, they usually give you something like a week to finish a take-home interviews. So you get to finish it in the perfect way and you get to show them how you actually work, I guess, which is good. The downside is that obviously take-home interviews, they take a lot more time than the LeetCode interviews. No, we're talking about days instead of just hours, which means it favors people who have more time, right? So for example, I can complete a take-home interview, maybe, you know, 2 of them a week if I was applying for new jobs. Whereas people with children, for example, if you have children, you have no time, right? So you're not going to be able to complete those. Also, if you have like a second job, you're not going to be able to complete those. If you have someone to take care of, you're not going to be able to complete those as well as other people would. So, you know, there's a balance there. So I kind of like the very short take-home challenges. So challenges that only take like maybe an evening to complete, because even people with no time can kind of complete them within like a few days. So yeah, those are the ones that I kind of like to have. Yeah, LeetCode interviews, you know, it's, you know, let's be honest, the real thing with LeetCode interviews is that you can do it perfectly if you've seen it before, right? So if you've not seen a question before, you're more likely going to get it, you know, you're very likely going to get it wrong if it's a complex question. But if you've seen it before, then you're going to do perfectly on it, right? Because you kind of know the underlying approach to take for a particular problem. And that's why if you're applying for jobs and you know you're going to get put into LeetCode interviews, just always, if you have time, just do like 100 of them in a week, because it's going to benefit you, honestly. There's nothing that you won't have seen. It's just not a fair world, to be honest. It's not a fair industry, let's be honest. Yeah, I feel you. I'm on the hunt for a new job and had some online hacker rank assessments. No assessor, watching a time limit, and it's been tricky so far. I need to grind more LeetCode. Yeah, I've been on HackerRank as well. So HackerRank is a very, very popular one. Is that the one where yeah, that's the one where the companies go directly on HackerRank and get your interview through there. Yeah, I've been on that one. It's just nerve-wracking, dude. But the thing is, you know, you seem to have quite a bit. You seem to be someone with a bit of time on their hands. So just bash it out, man. Just bash it out for like 2 weeks. Apply for everything you can. Just get that experience, and then when you get a real job that you really want, you know what I mean? You're gonna have a lot more experience than, yeah, if you're just cold applying for it the first time. But anyway, so send post request Golang. I had a page open here that was doing all the post requests, and I have no idea where it's gone. So we have our header.add content type application. So client.do. Can I not just have a? I don't want to create a client just for this. I just want to do a very, very easy post request with Golang. what's S in this case? No, this is a different freaking library. Is there a default client I can access? Make a HTTP GET and POST request to Golang. By the way, if you guys are watching this and if you could like the video, I would appreciate it very much because it does help me out quite a lot. And yeah, thank you all for watching as well. Having a good time doing some API calls here, to be honest. So what do they have here? So they've got http.get one. So making a GET request, now making a POST request is a little bit different, right? POST, and then we've got the parameters here. Okay, so it's just, yeah, this is much easier and I don't have to create a default client just for it, right? So yeah, let's go for that one. So, it's parameters.our title URL values. What is parameters? Let's see. Params. URL.values. Title bar. The response from the API is this. No, this is not quite right because what I have here is I've got a struct in I've got a struct in Golang. I just want to have like one call that will transform that to a JSON and send it very easily. So by, yeah, I guess I could do this as well. I could just send the data, right? So the client. Oh my god, they're all creating clients though, but I didn't want to do that. Client.do HTTP client. Yeah, maybe we just have to do this. Oh lord, it's fine. So yeah, let's create a client. Can we just do without the... What would this return me? So it returns a response pointer and an arrow, right? So response, so we have now got the, what is it called? The reCaptcha response data and the error here. And again, we're going to do something like that. Excuse me. This error has to change though, because this actually happens when we can't send, when we can't create the POST request. That is it really, right? So I guess if you want to be a bit friendlier, we can just do the error string here and transform the fmt.string sprint f here. There you go, and then we can just reuse those in here. And also here. That's the reason why I'm doing that. So error string, yeah. And why did I do that? Because I can just copy and paste this thing here. And we are good, right? So we, instead of this, we're just going to change this to could not do reCaptcha POST request. This is turning this handler into a very big one, to be honest. It was very simple. Just check that the name exists, check that the email exists, and everything else. Now all of this just to check the reCaptcha's response, which is definitely something that I don't want to do a lot of, but you know, it's also something that we just do it once and we never have to go back to it again. So yeah, it seems okay. It seems okay so far. And now what we do have to do is we have to do a marshal, right? So we need to do a JSON.unmarshal. We send in the reCaptcha response data. And what do we have here? So body. I mean, yeah, we want to get the body for sure. Is body a function? I don't even know. What is it? Oh yeah, it's just a body. And then we're going to pass in the pointer. Is that a pointer to any? Should it be a pointer to any or just a value? I'm interested to know now. Yeah. But anyway, so we get reCaptcha. reCaptcha answer here. We don't have this name already, right? Yeah, good. What is this going to be? This is going to be a reCaptcha. Oh. Wait, how do we put the value of something again? How do I get the freaking type here? Yeah, var. That's what I'm missing. Var reCaptcha response, right? Yeah, this is what I want to do here. So we want to pass in this value to a reCaptcha answer. We also want to check that we have a valid response here, right? So we kind of want to do reCaptcha response data dot I guess status code, right? So if this is not the same as HTTP dot status code, status accepted, which is 200, right? No, is status okay that we want. Status okay. Then we want to put some errors, basically, and return from the function early. Cannot use reCaptcha response data. Variable of type read closer as by value. What's body? Body is IO reader. Dot close dot read. And that will return me an integer. What? I mean, the value should just be in here, right? Am I missing something? I just want to get the whatever was returned to me. Is there a different? Is there a different attribute I can use? Yeah, we'll come to this in a second. Let's just change this first. So if it's not status okay, we say that reCaptcha could not validate reCaptcha. And we don't have this time. Actually, we don't have any of this. And we also have no error here. So log error message, error string, and then we make contact failure with the error render. So error in this case is just going to be something like an empty one. fmt.errorf. Right. Cannot use fmt errorf, failed to validate reCaptcha as string value. That's fine. We can turn it into a string, I guess. No problem. I just want to finish this now. Just want to finish this. Cannot use reCaptcha body. Yeah, so how do I get this now? How do I actually, make the request? We have the response here, body.close, defer body.close, right? So we do have to do something like a defer reCaptcha answer here, a Marshall. Yeah, we have to defer that body.close though after we do the request, which is here. So after this bit, we do a defer reCaptcha response data. Oh, body.close, right? Yeah, sounds about right. So we don't forget to close it. And this is only if there's no errors apparently. So we do it here, that's fine. And then we can do the actual JSON of marshalling. So we do response body, status header, IO util read all. That's the one we're going to use. So I guess is IO util read all. reCaptcha. This is deprecated, isn't it? Multiple values of IO util. What is this deprecated to? IO read all. And again, we can have the reCaptcha response data buffer. A lot of allocations here just to do this is a bit crazy. But at this stage, we should have a valid reCaptcha answer which contains the score for us, right? So all we really care about here is whether, wait, is that the right one actually? So do we have the right types in here? So secret, so success, true or false. Right, so reCaptcha, key value reCaptcha. I thought there should be like a sort of score for me, right? There should be a little score for me. There you go, that's the one. Yeah, so we've not done it correctly here. So we do have a score as well. Does it say whether this request was valid reCaptcha token for your site? Oh, sorry about that. So we don't really care about the success. What we do care about is about the score. So I think it's something like, if it's over like 90%, then we succeed, right? So other words, we just have to put the score here, which is going to be a float, right? Float 32. Can we do this as a number? So float 32, let's see if it's going to work. Yeah, I'm going to hope that this works. And did I call it score correctly? Yeah, so at this stage, we assume, right? We assume that we have everything valid. What's the issue here? No new variable left on the side. That's fine. So we can do reCaptcha answer dot score. And if that's more than like 0.9, so if it's 90%, fine. Then that means that the user has succeeded, right? So if it's, I guess if it's less than 9, we are going to fail it. We're going to tell the user that they have not completed the form correctly or something like that, or they're a bot. So yeah, that's it. And in theory, this should be reCaptcha working for us. Now, the thing is, I don't think it's going to compile because I'm probably missing something. Yeah, this is taking the app settings, for example. So I am definitely not taking the app settings here. So I need to pass in the app settings. Things should build now. They should definitely build. Why has this been saved? Let's rerun the make script. So this is the time of the truth, guys. Is reCaptcha going to work on the website? That's what I'm wondering. Because if it does work first time, I'll be very impressed. If it doesn't, we'll debug it. Not a problem. In fact, let me look at the contact here. Make form handler. So we are going to debug this. Just so we know if things are actually working fine. Now let's go to our local host. We've got contact here. I'm going to put my name down. The reCaptcha thing beautifully being shown here. And then we have some email and me saying hello. Now, page not found. That's very interesting, isn't it? Page not found. Why is that? Now this is very interesting. Like, why did it not find contact this? This is it's very weird. Very, very weird. Can I see can I beautify this line wrap? So what is my form doing? Action is going to take me there. Ah, okay. Yeah, this is the issue, because I was actually doing this form handling with HTMX. So HTMX is actually doing the post stuff for me, right? So if I do a submit here, what it's actually doing is it's going to my action, and my action isn't a valid page. What I should be doing is I should be triggering the HTMX stuff instead. So in other words, I should trigger my HX post page here. That's all. So let's try that. First of all, is there anyone who's done this before? Because I kind of feel like HTMX, Google reCaptcha. Let's see. Integrating HTMX with Google reCaptcha. Amazing. Let's see how they do it. So they've got the HTX post. The target is container. So query select, they've got an event here, verified. They create a verified event and dispatch it to the form. Now, I'm pretty sure this is going to break the current email stuff, but we're willing to let that happen, right? Let's just try and understand this. So this creates a new event that is then being sent to the element, which is my form. So I guess HTMX is looking at the event called verified. Cool. So whenever that gets sent, the HTMX is reading that and kind of doing its thing. Yeah, why not? So yeah, let's just copy and paste this. So yeah, again, we're gonna have to change it on the contact temple here. It's just gonna have to happen. So this is the actual function we're gonna be doing. Let me just copy the whole thing, make sure I don't forget anything. Function announce is the one. So we're gonna replace this function here. So get element by ID, get query selector, and then we have demo form. We send an event verified to that form, and then we have on submit, right? That's what it should be called, because that's what the button is calling. The button is called it's calling on submit here. Now, is that everything? I don't believe this is everything, but we're gonna try it. Let's try again. HX trigger. Ooh, yeah, good point. It has to match the HX trigger, doesn't it? What do I have in my HX trigger? We're forgetting that. I don't actually have one, so verified is the one. Yeah. So this is, yeah, now it makes sense. So this is waiting for this to happen. Right. Thank you very much, Bogdan. I would have been like debugging this for literally maybe half an hour until it works. So it's definitely useful having people here. Okay, let's just skip that breakpoint and try and see it again. See, I don't think this is going to work now, though. Yeah, there you go. So, like, that broke the verification page. What am I getting here? So, properties, computed. Where's my console? There you go. So, failed to load the resource. The server responded with, okay. Okay, so it is checking the email. It's just not doing much, I guess. It's just not telling me it's wrong. But I can fix that later. It's not a problem. So do we get the reCaptcha response? Yeah, we do actually get a massive thing on the reCaptcha response. We create those things, we marshal it. Okay, so we do have data here. That's good. We create the post request. Do we get the reCaptcha response? We do actually get that. And I'm gonna tell you guys, hello Slim, how's it going, dude? It's good to see you. I'm gonna be very surprised if this works first time, because it never does. Never I ever write works first time. So the status code is okay. We are marshal. The score here is 0. The score is 0. Why is it 0 now? Wait, what? There's nothing in here. Could not validate reCaptcha, and we should have got like a, yeah, at least this part is working. So when it doesn't do anything, it fails. I have an empty if. I didn't realize I had an empty if here. So yeah, let me put this in there. This is just like an error that happens when you can't render a page, which shouldn't ever happen really with Temple. But do you need to fill in reCaptcha, or does it work? Not sure about v3. So do I need to fill in reCaptcha? I assume that whatever we send it was fine, because when I got the reCaptcha response back, things worked, right? So what I actually got was an okay. I got a 200 error code, but let's try it again, because there is something called no, I don't have to refill reCaptcha, because this is v3 reCaptcha, which means it's just on the background checking your data. So like Google is analyzing your responses using some sort of machine learning algorithm or whatever. See, so this is still working. Like the actual email check-in from, I think whatever I'm using here, simple.cs, is still working, but it's not actually giving me anything. So whenever I put my email, only then it comes through. So let's look at that. So reCaptcha response, we did get something. reCaptcha request. And when we make that request, things just work. So this is the interesting bit. So when we marshal it, so we get success equals false. So that implies, you know, that implies that we can't use this. So in other words, we should also be checking here for reCaptcha answer. Ooh. Answer.success. And this as well. Actually, this is if this is not true, or if this is not true. Seems like all our default values somehow doesn't a marshal, right? I do think it does a marshal. That's the thing. So if I do error equals error, if error is not nil here, man, I need to turn all these errors into like a function that will just kind of. I need to turn all these branches into a defer. Like this is too big. I will defer everything. Yeah, I do think it's a marshalling. I just think that Google is actually not giving us valid data, because it does explain why, you may guess. So this whether this request was a valid reCaptcha token for your site. You see? So if this returns false, it just means that we don't have a valid reCaptcha token. I guess that's what it is. In other words, do we have reCaptcha secret? Yeah, we do have reCaptcha secret there. But anyway, let's go back in here. So on marshal, yeah, so this, I just need to redo all the errors here. Let's make builder. Once again, let's debug it. Right. So if it's failing to parse, we should be able to see the branch going in, right? So we make a new request here. We reCaptcha. See, oh yeah, you are right. You are absolutely correct, Bogdan. It fails to to do anything here. Could not do reCaptcha. Missing extra. Wait, what? Could not do reCaptcha post. Missing extra JSON invalid or Marshall parser. We're passing the buffer and the reCaptcha answer. Is there a usage here? Maybe I'm just like completely unaware of how to use a Marshall. Let's see. Yeah, the only point is like in C++ this would be a reference, right? If I was calling this would be a reference. So like why is it not this? Is that correct now? Oh, it better freaking be. That better be the issue. FMTS prints F call has arguments but no formatting. What do you mean? It's got no formatting. It's right. Oh yeah. We are not in Rust, so it should just be a string there. And the same thing with this. Gosh. Yeah, this is what happens when you write C++ and Rust all day, and then you go back to Rust, to Golang, that is, where you have like old school formatting strings. I think it's fine now. Yeah, I think, let's hope so. Right, do we have any more squiggly lines? To be fair, like if I just listened to the squiggly lines, the squiggly yellow lines, I would have been okay, right? Because it was telling me that something might be wrong. So I was just a little bit naive, I guess. Right, so do we still have the breakpoint? No. Okay. I mean, we could not validate reCaptcha now. But I didn't quite get to see why. Let's try again. Didn't quite get to see why. Alright, this is the interesting bit. Okay, now we have a valid reCaptcha here, but we still have like the default stuff, which is a little bit weird. It doesn't tell me exactly why it's wrong, right? So reCaptcha answer is there, and reCaptcha answer. We know it's been unmarshaled. I just don't know why. It's error code. Missing input secret. Okay, there you go. It does. I guess I do know missing input secret. What? Boy, what is this? What should it be here? So this returned me a missing input secret here. So this response. Let me see that again. Let me see that again. I'm confused. Send it again. Right, so this post request, does it say what's going on here? Use JSON to send your response token and site key. Instead, send the value as how the application www form URL encoded defined. I think you're gonna have a hard time sending me messages there, Bogdan, because YouTube is gonna like think it's spam or something. But if you are on Discord, yeah, just send a message on Discord if you can, because your message is not gonna send there. Basically, I won't be able to see it if it's got code in it. YouTube is stupid in that way. But where is that error? I had it just now. Data secret. But you do have a point. So how do they define it in the application here? In fact, how is this guy doing it? So G reCaptcha response. And he's sending it to Google reCaptcha response. What's this Google reCaptcha response in this case? Challenge TS error codes. Yeah, the only thing I'm missing is the error codes here, which is an array of strings. Validate reCaptcha. This check this URL verification. Okay. Yeah, we need to turn that into a constant somewhere. This guy's done it right, I guess. Hey, I think I saw you join on Discord, Bogdan. Let's see. Gonna give you a little sup there. Yeah, so they've got a response and secret, which we do have. A Marshall Google response. No. So he's passing the request here, which is just this HTTP post form. URL.values. So what the hell? He's actually sending it as URL.values. I wonder what that actually does. Does it include it as a like URL parameters? URL.values, where is that something he defined as well? No, not quite. I'm gonna do it this way. Let's see if I can get it working. So instead of doing a new request, what we're gonna do is we are gonna do whatever that guy's doing, and hopefully it works, basically. So instead of doing this request here, what was he doing again? When you look at something and you immediately forget it, http.post form. Post form issues a post to the specified URL with data's keys and values URL encoded as the request body. Yeah, I guess that's what we should be doing, right? So URL string. So again, we're gonna do whatever this is. Site verify. And then URL.values. What was it meant to be? Secret. Wait, can I marshal this to a URL values? No, yeah, it has to be URL values. Can't see Discord server. I'm not sure what's happening. That's weird, because you definitely joined it. Like, I definitely saw you join it. Yeah, just, if the link on the description isn't working, I can see if I can change the invite code. Maybe that invite code has expired or something. But I'm pretty sure that this is going to solve it, Bogdan. We'll see. So they've got secret here. What was it meant to be? So data reCaptcha. app settings.reCaptcha secret. And he's also got response here. It's working, just can't see it on my Discord app. Yeah, you're probably a part of too many Discord dudes. I've got the same problem. I have a hard time figuring out which server I'm looking for sometimes. And response, yeah, so this is the reCaptcha response, which is defined in here, right? Yeah, so basically I don't really need to marshal this entire thing anymore because I can just send it as URL values. Right? Or maybe not. Cannot use reCaptcha response as string. What? Oh yeah, so he's just sending it as an array of 1, inline array of 1. I can also do that. And what does it do here? So it just does a post form and that returns what? A response. So I guess a post. That's it. And we remove all the client code. This is so much easier as well. This is so much simpler than what we have before. Yeah, so we don't need to do this. We do have a body close there. Okay, let's try this. Maybe that was the issue. Maybe we had to do an URL encoded kind of thing. So make build CMS application. Okay, now we're gonna okay, let's see. Post form. We did not get an error. That is good. Now reCaptcha response. We're gonna read all. Success equals true. You see, now we're actually getting something now. We're actually getting something. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Oh shit, it's literally 0.9. Literally 0.9 for me. And we should have been able to see the message send. And I think that's it completed, right? So that's a pretty good it's a pretty good outcome for today's stream. I'm gonna just refactor some of the code now because I think this is kind of really, really messy. I'm not sure if you guys think the same thing. But yeah. You got in, yeah, dude. You got in. Thank you. I'll take a look at this reCaptcha. What is it? reCaptcha error codes. Missing input response. Missing input. So basically it just looks like it's an error that is kind of not describing it very well, right? Yeah, so that error actually, from the answer here, I'm guessing that it actually means that it wasn't encoded correctly. So this function here that we've used, so this is why this function solves it from what I can see. We're using http.post form, and this will encode all the URL values into, www form URL encoded, which is what URL values do, I guess, right? So that's what we can see here as the body. There you go. So yeah, it makes sense. I just wish Google had a nicer thing. But anyway, let's refactor some of this. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove this here because we no longer need it, right? So we no longer need this stuff for sure. We do want to get a const. So we've got reCaptcha verify URL, and this is going to be, what is it, string. Can I do this? Does that work? Does that work? Yeah, that works. Just to make it very obvious, like what we're actually doing at the very top. And then down here, wherever we had the request, we can do reCaptcha verify URL. I am probably going to put this into a function, and I'll tell you why. We're going to put all this verification into a function just because we want to be able to skip it if the user hasn't actually provided the response and the site and the site key and the secret, right? That's what we want to do. So we're basically going to create a function called verify reCaptcha, right? And in here we're going to put that reCaptcha secret, which is a string. And what else do we need? I think that's it basically. I think that's exactly what we want here. Gotta go. Nice stream though. Learned some new stuff. Don't forget to remove the secret after. Have a good night. Yeah, thank you, Bogdan. I won't forget, dude. And yeah, thank you for joining, man, and have a good night. So we're just gonna I'm going to return an error there. So if the error isn't nil, that means we failed to do the reCaptcha stuff, right? That's basically what it is here. So we're going to move all this stuff here into that function so we can skip it later. That's all. And this should all go right there. Right, so what do we have here? So we have app settings.reCaptcha secret. We're going to change that to just reCaptcha secret. We're going to pass in that reCaptcha response as well, which is a string. And this has to be done up the stack, I guess. Does this have a return? And so this is empty if it doesn't exist, right? I'm expecting that it is. If the key value is not present, form value returns the empty string. That's good. That's what we want. So we pass in the error here and we say we're going to validate reCaptcha, right? That's what it's called. Validate reCaptcha. Verify reCaptcha. Yeah, I was going to change the case, but I put that reCaptcha secret in here. And then reCaptcha response. No, reCaptcha response. That's it. And then we can say if the error is a nil, meaning that the reCaptcha didn't succeed. That's what it means here. We're probably going to do some logging. In this case, we're going to say that things didn't work and so on and so forth. So it could not validate. Yeah. And that is it. And what else do we need here? So yeah, all these errors stuff, we can just kind of return what the error is supposed to be, right? So the error string. Make the error login into a reusable function because it's used all across all functions. Yeah, I'm thinking of that. I'm thinking of like deferring it, making it into a function and deferring everything, if it makes sense. Is that what you mean, Slim? Because that's what I was thinking about. Ooh. What am I doing here? So I'm actually... Oh, you're handcrafting errors now. I see. Yeah, I'm handcrafting it, but I can also make it into a function that takes in an error string and then just defer that call, if it makes sense. And it kind of does the same. I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing that right now, but I'll definitely do that before I merge this BR. I'm not going to merge this BR straight away. Like, I still need to actually put the instructions on the README to say, you know, if you want to use reCaptcha, you know, go create a reCaptcha key and put it in the config file. And yeah, and then some last changes, like making the code a little bit nicer, because I kind of just rushed it without doing what's actually the best here. So that's usually how I work. So error F, we want to put this and then the error here as well. Something like that. Verify reCaptcha if it is a nil, and we're going to do basically the same thing all the time. So if reCaptcha status code yeah, instead of in here, I'm just going to put the status code http dot status, oh, whatever it is, reCaptcha status code, reCaptcha data status. There you go. A lot of things can go wrong in this workflow. It's crazy. Just doing a simple API request, there's like 10 different error handlers and shit, which is not ideal. Right, so fmt.print, cannot do request. Yeah, we want to remove all of that. We just want to return fmt.errorf in here. So what's actually happening here? So could not do reCaptcha. I guess in this case it would be like could not parse reCaptcha response, and then we have the actual error here. Okay, and the last one is, yeah, this one kind of is just a generic thing when we couldn't actually do the we did the reCaptcha and it either didn't succeed because the website tokens weren't valid, or the user didn't pass it. So in this case, I'm just gonna say error F here and something like could not validate reCaptcha, and that's it. Nothing else. And then in here we can just return nil. And this should be it, really. So like the kind of like the cherry on the cake, the cherry on top would simply be making sure that we do have the reCaptcha stuff, right? So if we do a length of app settings, the reCaptcha secret is less than 1, I guess. If it's more than 0, and the length of app settings here, the reCaptcha site key is more than 1. So in other words, if we have actually passed the correct settings for us to be able to run this, we can validate it. Otherwise, it's not going to run, and it's going to ignore this. So that is it. And I think we have something that's a little bit nicer than before, and we can see how it works now. So if I just recompile this, we should have reCaptcha enabled if and only if we have this here, right? So if we have these settings in the TOML file, then we are going to be able to run the reCaptcha checks. Let's try it again. Oh, we're not actually running the app. That makes sense. So let's run the contact again. So if we have the settings, then reCaptcha will run. Now let me just make sure that it's running by putting a breakpoint here. So you see that it is running, and in the end, it kind of succeeds, right? Hopefully. What is the score? 0.9. And obviously if we don't have that, so if we restart the application without the reCaptcha stuff here, and that's all the user's going to be able, that's all the user's going to have to do, by the way, just provide these settings. So say we just did not have them here. If we just did that and then rerun the application. Let's do a contact again. Now, one thing I have to fix is that whenever reCaptcha is enabled, then this is not gonna like, no, this works whenever it's not enabled, because I'm not rewriting the form parsing function call, so the on call or whatever, the on validation call. When I do have reCaptcha enabled, I'm kind of including some extra JavaScript on the front end to reroute the submit button, which makes this not work anymore, right? So that will have to be fixed, and that's something that we need to do. And there you go, page not found. I guess that's an interesting one. So let's fix that real quick, because I have no idea why it's not working. What have I even done here? Why did it say message out of nowhere? So I guess we can do a line wrap here just to see what the form is doing. So action. I guess we just remove the action, right? We also have to remove the HX trigger in here. Yeah. Let's remove those things from temple. So contact, not temple. There's two things I have to do. So if the reCaptcha psyche is more than 0, we're adding the extra JavaScript and stuff that is doing things, but we also want to, I guess we want to say something like if, oh, this is not going to let me do that, right? Well, let's do a nice and, wait, what? If reCaptcha, if the length of reCaptcha psyche is more than 0, then we do this, else the form is going to look slightly different. I think we can remove this action from both of them, to be honest. We just remove the HX trigger from the case where we don't really have the form here, or the reCaptcha settings, just because we don't want to wait for verified. So I got you. Go, bro. Take care. Thank you, Slim. Thank you for joining, dude. And yeah, before you go, man, drop the like, and yeah, have a good evening, dude. Thank you for joining again. Have a nice work day tomorrow, man. If you're working. Let's make build work. If what is going on? If expected nodes but none were found. Expected nodes but none were found. Expected nodes but none were found. What the hell is that? Temple. There you go. This is just a temple thing. I don't know what is going on, but we're going to find out. I couldn't reproduce this issue with the following. If expression tests go. After we've upgraded, the error is gone. Oh, is it because I have to do an indentation there? There's no way, right? There's no way the indentation is the problem. I guess we're gonna find out. No, it still doesn't work. I just don't know what this means. What the hell? If it's more than 0, if length of reCaptcha psyche. Now, do any of you know Temple? Because I'm stuck here. Why is this if statement not working in Temple? Why is it not parsing it? Ah, I know why. It's because it expects this. There's no way, right? It is. It's freaking that. It's very annoying with Temple. Oh no. Ah, okay. So I see what the problem is. So Node expects you to have the entire node here. So the entire element here, which means like up until you close it. So I can't just include this if reCaptcha key is enabled. I have to include the entire form, which is very annoying indeed, isn't it? But I guess, as a quick hack, we can just do that real quick. So we can do something like, if reCaptcha key is enabled, then we can move it all up there. Like right here. And if it's disabled, you see, now it kind of works. Now we let you do that. So form ID, why did it not indent it again? And in this case, we do actually have, let's see. Yeah, we already know that this is the case here, so we just remove the else. And we can nicely indent it here, right? And then the same thing for this case, but we just remove everything that we don't need, basically. So we do all of this. And then remove. Wait, what did we have before? Out of interest. With that if, there you go. This is what we had as well. I'm just gonna remember that before I forget. Yeah, instead of the button, we had this. So in essence, this should work now, right? Yeah, because I've got like the entire element actually defined within the if statement, and that's what Temple wants. So, and it does work. Now, does it work? Does it really work? Let's see. So I don't actually have the reCaptcha enabled because I removed it from the settings, which means that this should kind of be checking the email now. There you go. But if I do a gmail.com here, then it works, right? So it's not actually checking the reCaptcha. However, if I stop the application and then re-enable it with these values here uncommented out, then we should be going through the reCaptcha code now. So, and you can see, there you go. So reCaptcha is enabled when I enable it on the settings, and that's the behavior that we want, really, isn't it? I'm going to post that there. Yeah, and we hit the reCaptcha code. Beautiful. Beautiful indeed. That's it. I think the only thing that is left now is just to run go fmt, so we can push everything. And then look at, ooh, we've changed a bunch of stuff here. So yeah, we've changed a few things. So git add I'm gonna send it 1 to 5. That's what we changed. There you go, adding support for reCaptcha on the contact pages. I'm going to push this. And the last thing that we have to do is to actually go on GitHub, Urchin's GitHub, and then just create a pull request for it, right? So we're just gonna do that. There are some things that we still have to do here. So for example, I definitely need to fix the email validation when reCaptcha is enabled. I can't remember what else now. Yeah, so we're gonna refactor all the error reporting into something that can be deferred. And that's it, really. But anyway, I'm going to call the stream here, guys. And again, thank you all very much for watching. If you're watching this in the future, I do appreciate the support. And make sure you like the video. And make sure to catch me on the next stream. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time. And bye-bye.